Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, Omar, for the kind introduction. I was asked to cover AI, data, and IoT in 5 minutes. I don't think it can be done, but we'll try. Let's start by dispelling a common confusion. When people hear AI, most of them think of the robots they see in movies, like the Terminator, Ava from Ex Machina, or iRobot. These are futuristic examples that we call general AI. What we have today and what's practical and relevant to business is narrow AI, which is specialized in one application, like the cameras detecting manufacturing defects in a factory, or the algorithm that picks the next video for you to watch on Netflix. In its simplest definition, AI is a software that can teach itself and acquire new knowledge that was not hard-coded into it by the programmer. And the way it does that is by learning. Machine learning works by collecting a huge amount of data and feeding it to your AI model. And the key word here is data. So today, I'll ask you to join me around the world, and I'm going to tell you 2 stories about applications of data, one in AI and one in IoT. The first story comes from Tesla. I often find myself arguing with my friends about Tesla. They say it's overvalued compared to other car companies. And I keep saying, but it's not a car company. It's an AI company. It's a data company. Tesla has a supercomputer called Dojo, and I like the name Dojo because it's Japanese for the place where you learn martial arts. The key word here is learn, because Dojo is where Tesla's famous self-driving AI learns how to drive. But how it does do that? Well, there are 2 million Teslas on the road today, each equipped with dozens of sensors and cameras. And they collect data about everything: the different road shapes and curves and slopes, the different weather conditions, the signage in different countries and different languages, the behavior of the drivers and pedestrians. All this data gets sent back to the Dojo system where the self-driving AI gets trained. Now, when a new baby Tesla is born, it gets loaded with the latest version of the AI, so it hits the road already having all the knowledge and all the wisdom of its 2 million predecessors. And that is the power of data. The second story is about data in IoT, and it comes from Ireland. But first, let's talk about IoT. Before IoT, the internet was just a network of PCs and phones and smart devices. Then what happens when we start connecting non-smart devices to the internet? Things like roads and bridges and machines and factories and street lights and traffic signals and trucks and trees. If you do this, you move from the internet of smart devices to the internet of things. In May 2015, I visited a beautiful city in Ireland called Galway, and I met Des and John, a father and a son who run a ready-made concrete factory. Now, ready-made concrete is produced by putting liquid cement into molds and waiting for them to cure. If you rush, you'll end up with cracks. But you don't want to be extra careful neither, or you'll end up with loads of blocks in your yard and many impatient and unhappy customers. You just gotta get it just right. And for 40 years, Des got it exactly right. He could just walk out on any day and from air humidity tell you blocks today will need 28 hours to cure or 32 hours to cure. But then something happened. Around 2011, the EU mandated that cement bags should contain a certain percentage of recycled waste as part of the environmental friendly and circular economy efforts. Suddenly, the concrete curing time got all over the place, from 15 hours to 40 hours. The gut experience that Des accumulated over 40 years became useless. He lost his superpower. To be safe, they started leaving the blocks 48 hours, and they ended up with piles and with very slow delivery time to their clients. That's when John, the young tech-savvy son, started experimenting with IoT. He would bring 2 temperature sensors, dip them in the cement, and connect them to an IoT node. The node reads the data from sensor and sends it through to a gateway to a cloud-hosted app. So when I visited that day, I saw hundreds of blocks, each equipped with 2 sensors and 1 IoT node. And I saw John sitting at the edge of the yard with his laptop, monitoring the app showing him the status of each block. In this image, you can see the row 38. It has 6 blocks. 5 of them still need time, but the 6th is ready. So you detach the IoT node, you sacrifice the expendable sensors, you remove the mold, and you ship the block to the construction site. Yet another real-life, practical, beautiful example of the power of data. And I'll never forget what Des told me that day. He said, "ALAA, it was like the concrete was talking to us." My time is up. Thank you for your attention.